Nightmare Webkinz Killer Dog, March 2nd. It was an average spring evening. School had just gotten out and I was downstairs in my room sipping hot chocolate. I was on my laptop watching YouTube, wasting time, the usual. I had just finished and I was getting sort of bored sitting around doing nothing, so I decided to boot up my favorite game. On the Webkinz icon on my desktop and got ready to relax in the beautiful Webkinz world. I loaded up into my pirate room as always, said hi to my favorite Webkinz pet, Tucker. Tucker is a bulldog with pink funky girl glasses and a top hat. She's my first and favorite Webkinz pet. I noticed that her play meter was getting a little low, so I decided it was probably about time to head over to the games room to play some games. But first, I fed her strawberries. I headed over to the games room and saw my friend Frank was online. Their username was FuriousFrank445. They had a Himalayan named Chucky Boy. I rapid Frank saying, "What's up?" And we decided to hop on some checkers. Checkers is usually our go-to game. We've spent so much time playing checkers. Frank always sits in the spade chair, so I went over to the club chair as usual. This time, something was a little off. Instead of starting as usual, it said it was retrieving player data. Now, me and Frank both assumed that this was a classic server glitch and thought little of it. As we were trying to get checkers to work, I decided to let the timer run through. 3, 2, 1. All of a sudden, the bright orange winning screen popped up, but we didn't even play? Now I knew something was odd. Things only got weirder. Because instead of saying me or Chucky Boy won, it said www is the winner. Now, for reference, there were 16 W's, so I'll be calling them W16 from here on. Me and Frank both assumed that this was a glitch and not another player at the game. And Frank had to go anyways. So we both logged off and went to bed. The next day I ran into Frank at school, and usually he's a super happy guy, but I could tell something was on his mind this time.
Hey Phoebe, what's up?
He stared off into the distance and was sort of giving me creepy feelings. There was a pause, and then he asked me if I remembered that weird thing that happened with checkers last night on Webkinz.
Do you remember that weird thing that happened with checkers last night on Webkinz?
I asked him no why, and he told me he got a message on Webkinz from W16. And not only that, but he got a gift too. A black box. He said he was nervous to open it. He told me he had been getting weird feelings after last night, and not only that, he logged on to Webkinz this morning before school this morning and heard Chucky Boy screaming. Now, I heard all about clicking on Dr. Quack's poster 32 times and the Webkinz killer. And at this point, I assumed Frank was pulling my leg. I sort of laughed him off and went to class, but his disturbed expression stuck with me for the rest of the day. After school, I ran home as usual to hop on Webkinz World, but when I did, I noticed a notification in my Webkinz mail. Now, I figured Frank was lying about getting messages from the glitch, but the glitch just typed. It was a message from W16 saying,
"I love Webkinz. Will you be my friend?"
One thing I noticed too was that this time there were 17 W's, not 16. There was one more message in my mail. It was a gift. When I looked at it, my jaw almost dropped. Now, at this point, I was nervous, so I decided to call Frank's house. When I finally got someone to pick up, it wasn't Frank, it was his mom. "Oh, Phoebe, do you know where Frank is? He didn't come back from school this afternoon. We're worried sick. We've notified the police. Do you have any idea where he could be?" At this point, I was stomach sick. I hurriedly told Frank's mom that I had to go and almost dropped the phone. I nervously walked back to my computer, and it was still on the gift message with the black box I received from W17. I took a deep breath and decided that if I wanted to find out what happened to Frank, I'd have to open it. What I saw next, I'll never get out of my head. It was one item. Inside the black box was Chucky Boy's disembodied head. The blood almost looked real. I was so shocked and upset I barfed a little on my keyboard. Not only that, but suddenly, Tucker looked super scared and started to scream. I was starting to get a headache. I didn't know what was going on. So haunting. What was I gonna do? Did this thing kill Frank? Kill Chucky Boy? I didn't have much time to think, because just when I thought it was over, a pitch black shadowy Webkinz pet with the name Cerberus walked onto my screen. I was so scared, my hands started shaking. It started to rap.
"Oh, Phoebe."
This thing knew my name? But that's impossible. This is a video game. What it said next was the last thing I ever saw.
"Goodbye, Phoebe."
It pulled out a knife and murdered Tucker. And Tucker bled everywhere and was screaming. I didn't have much time to scream or cry, because then everything went dark. Now, you may be wondering how I'm telling you this. The truth is, this is a warning from the black box. Cerberus is stealing Webkinz players' souls. If you get message from one W18, don't open the black box. You and your Webkinz pet will regret it. Webkinz.